that the government representative on the front bench will answer when he does his address in reply, or his reply. And the second recommendation that the NFF makes, and I think it's got an enormous amount of value to it, is that even if we agree with these changes and we put them in place, they don't have to be there forever. So the NFF recommends that the bill is amended with a sunset clause of 5 years, where the obligation of funding of international intergovernmental commodity organisations shifts back to the Australian government. So I again think there's a lot of merit in that, and I ask the relevant parliamentary secretary to sort of comment when we get to it. So there's two things there that the NFF is saying needs to be done, and I'd be really keen to hear the support of my colleagues opposite regarding that. But the second thing I'd like to address in my remarks today is consultation with the industry, and how important it is that, as a member representing a rural electorate, that the government has very deep and extensive consultation with industry, but not only the consultation stage, but then takes on board what industry has got to say. And at this moment, I'd like to congratulate the Minister for the Agricultural Competitive Green Paper and the opportunity to consult with industry over the next couple of months on some of the major themes in that paper, and to say to the Minister what a fantastic job he's done, and how giving it time, giving it resources and putting in place skilled public servants who can pull such a really good document together is exactly the way we should be consulting with industry. It builds trust, but much more importantly, it gets us really good results in the long term. So there's a couple of topics in this paper that I'd like to bring to the attention of the House, and one particular one is about education and training. It's been heard right across the country that we can do all we like at one level with R&D, but if we don't have a solid base of education and training, the whole system will shift in ways that we don't want to have it. So education and training is fundamentally important to the long-term sustainability of a rural research and development corporation and program. And it's particularly to university education that I'd like to turn my remarks today. As members of this House know, in the budget papers and resulting with the Minister for Education, he has got plans to change the way education is funded in Australia. And while that might work for our city cousins, I have great doubts that it's actually going to work for our agriculture sector. And there's two particular examples that I'd like to bring to the notice of the House. Jim Prattley from Charles Sturt University did some studies, and what he showed, we already have market failure in rural and regional Australia, particularly regarding training agricultural economists and all the specialist people that we need with the university education. That in 2012 that there was a need for 4,000 professionally qualified agricultural research people in Australia, and we were only able to produce 800. So we absolutely need to change it, but we need to change it so we actually can meet the real need in rural and regional Australia for qualified scientists and other research people. We hold them in rural Australia, and we actually make sure that they can contribute as they need to the whole process of building a competitive agriculture by having really qualified, skilled, tertiary educated people able to do the work. So I'm a great supporter of what I read in this paper about building pathways between schools, TAFEs and universities, so that we actually have a system and a pathway of people moving up to do their PhDs and then hopefully to live and work in rural Australia when they've finished their PhDs. So I would like just to bring to the attention of the House how important that consultation is, and the words that our community have been saying, and to hold them into the next stage of this paper when it becomes a white paper. That we put funds, that we put personnel and we put resources into particularly tertiary education, particularly in rural and regional Australia, and particularly into agriculture. It's probably the most important thing we can do. So if I could just set that there for a second, there's another part of this paper that I think has just got great merit, and I'd like to bring to the attention of the House. It's the need to establish a new body or tasking existing research bodies to coordinate cross-sector research. So one of the important things that need to happen in rural and regional Australia is that we actually need to talk to each other across RDCs. And there's a worrying part of this legislation before the House today, that the RDCs don't have to report to Parliament and that they don't have to meet on an annual basis.
Order. I thank the honourable member for Indi.